All right, good morning and welcome to my bookkeeping hat. This is part of the My Hat series. As an entrepreneur, you have many, many hats to wear. And this roundtable series gives you a place to learn some tips and strategies for the many tasks you must master as a business owner. You can ask questions, get answers from one of our very own experts and from other business owners just like yourself. Today, we welcome Ellen Gross from our own office here in North Caribou in Quesnel. Hi, Ellen.
Hi.
Ellen brings over 20 years of bookkeeping experience and 10 years banking experience to the table. As a self-employed bookkeeper, Ellen supported small business from industries throughout Northern BC. For the past 15 years, Ellen has created the curriculum for and taught bookkeeping courses to various groups and individuals. Ellen is an expert in Sage and Excel. Community Futures Peace Liard has utilized Ellen's skills and expertise for the self-employment program. And currently we get to use Ellen's expertise as our regional business liaison for Community Futures North Caribou. And Ellen has been supporting small businesses with provincial and federal funding programs and business reviews. Hi, Ellen.
Hi. Happy
So
Friday.
happy Friday. Yes, indeed. So before we get started, a quick little housekeeping. We are going to record the walkthrough portion, and then we will stop the recording to allow for Q&A and discussion. If you have questions pop up after the fact, you can connect directly with Ellen through email at ellen@cfquenel.com. So Ellen, today you're going to be sharing some tips on how to reconcile your books.
I am. So a bank reconciliation is something that you need to do at the end of each month. The concept of any reconciliation is to make sure you have all of the information and reconcile it to an outside source. So we're going to be doing a bank reconciliation today. So my outside source is going to be my bank statement from my bank. I'm going to be comparing that to the entries I've made in my general ledger. And it doesn't matter if you're doing your books manually or you're doing your books on computer, this concept is the same for both. It's one of the checks and balances that's in place for bookkeeping to make sure that your entries are correct. You have the correct amount. You actually have the entry especially for tax purposes. If you miss an entry that holds GST, then your GST return will be wrong. So when you reconcile your bank, you've made sure that you've got all of your entries that have gone through your bank. And you reconcile your payables, the same thing. You make sure that the payables that are recorded in your general ledger agree to the statement that you receive from your vendor. Okay. So perfect. I'm going to share my screen now, and we'll go through actually doing a bank reconciliation. See how well this works. Ta-da!
Perfect. Excellent.
All righty. So hopefully everybody can see that. If you can't, just let me know. So on the left-hand side, I have the bank statement we've received from the bank. And on the right-hand side, I have the general ledger that has been created throughout the month from the pieces of paper that have come through the office, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to check your opening balance. So on your bank statement, you will see the opening balance. I've outlined them in green, so you know which ones they are. The opening balance on my bank statement should agree to the opening balance on my general ledger, okay? That tells me that we are starting at the same spot in this particular case. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to go through item by item and find out what we have recorded in our general ledger versus what the bank has recorded on the bank statement. So I'm going to start with the first item on the bank statement. So the first item on the bank statement says it was a cash withdrawal of $2,734.86. I now go to my general ledger, and sure enough, here I have a cash transaction to Lee and Partners for $2,734.86. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check mark this so that I know I have ticked it off. My little viewing screen is in the way. And I have to insert. This is always the fun part when I'm doing it electronically.
Yes, that's fair.
Where is my symbol?
But this is certainly going to help you make sure you can find that pesky little 5 cents that is missing.
Exactly. So make sure these numbers are the same. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So we've marked both of those. Okay. Now I'm going to the next item. So the next item is a deposit for $15,400. My bank statement says it happened on July the 19th. So I go to my general ledger. I find the $15,400. I've also recorded that on the 19th. Perfect. So again, I put in my mark to show that I have matched both of those. My next item is check number 1 that cleared the bank July the 30th for $5,700. In my GL, I go look for $5,700. Yes, it is check number 1. Okay, that was actually written on July 26th. So when you write checks, they do not necessarily clear the bank on the same day that you wrote them.
Right.
A lot of checks get mailed to vendors, so you have to allow for the time that takes to arrive at whatever vendor you're sending it to. And then not everybody puts their checks in the bank right away. There's a lot of people who like to hold on to them for various reasons. So you could have a check that maybe is 3 months old, right? Now, a check that you've written that has not cleared the bank is called an outstanding check. And when you reconcile your bank, that's one of the items that you have to account for to make sure your GL reconciles to your bank statement. Okay, so we have the check for $5,700. Okay, it is in our GL here and it has cleared the bank statement here. Okay. From our bank statement, the next item is a $50,000 deposit that happened on July 31st. Okay, on your bank statement, depending on the bank that you deal with, they have all kinds of different descriptions that they put into the system. So this is one that one of the banks generally has. Now, this tells you really nothing, right? You look in your deposits column to understand that this was a deposit. And in your general ledger, you should have all of the details you need. So here is the $50,000 deposit to our account we're looking for. We did that on July the 31st, and the bank also recorded it on July the 31st. And here we have our description. We transferred from our savings account to the current account. So here's the description of what actually happened. This is the bank's version of what happened. Okay, so just so you know that, understand your bank and how they record certain transactions, and then it gets easier to pick them up if you have a hard time matching transactions. Okay, so we have now matched those transactions. Okay, so now in my bank statement, I have this little item here that's a withdrawal, and it's called owed interest. So you will notice at the very beginning of the month, when we had zero money, we did the cash withdrawal. And because we have overdraft protection on this checking account, they allowed us to be overdrawn. Okay. But they always charge you, right? So this is the interest charge for our bank account being overdrawn from the 16th of July until the 19th of July when we made this deposit. Okay. We don't know what that charge is going to be until we get the bank statement, right? So this particular item is not recorded in our GL yet. So what we're going to do, we're going to, and this is part of your bank reconciliation, we need to add into our GL the overdraft interest from the bank statement. And the date on the entry is going to be the 31st of July. And this is a withdrawal from our account. And I'm just going to make this so it automatically calculates. And then we can carry on. Okay, so I have now allocated this amount from my bank account or from my bank statement into my GL. Okay, I want to change this so that these are all the same color.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm a bookkeeper. I like to use red because it stands out. The visual is easy to see.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, so now we've taken care of the next amount. So the next amount on our bank statement is a pre-authorized charge from ICBC. You can have, we're getting more and more into electronic payments instead of writing checks or going to the bank to pull out cash for transactions. So you'll probably have a few of these. Loan payments, ICBC's one, BC Hydro can be one. You can sign up for automatic withdrawals to come out of your bank account for BC Hydro and other utilities. So when we get the bank statement, then we have this amount. So they took out $200 for our ICBC. So again, we need to record this in our general ledger, and the date, helps if I can type. And this is ICBC payment. Oops.
So
Really
and then
helps if
you
I
would
can type.
still have the paper copy of this to back up this payment as well, right? So you'd have your back statement, your paper, your actual statement from ICBC, and now it's going into your own.
That's right.
Month
But what
end.
happens with, so with ICBC, what happens with ICBC is when you go in, you have your insurance registration document, right? I'm getting shaded here, sorry. You have your ICBC agreement. So your registration with your vehicle outlines the insurance that you purchased. And then you have the agreement that you agree to make equal monthly payments over the next 12 months, right? That's the only document you're going to get from ICBC. And they give you on that agreement is a list of the dates and the amount of the payment that you're going to make. Okay. BC Hydro will still send you a statement every month showing the activity on your account. So you will have every month, you will have a piece of paper to back up the amount that comes out of your account, right? It depends on who you're dealing with and how they do their paperwork, right?
Gotcha.
So again, this is a withdrawal that we need to record in our GL. So we are going to record that in here. I'm just going to make this work. Okay, we've now recorded that one. And we have taken care of that one off of our bank statement. Okay, and the final item on our bank statement is the monthly service charges, which again is another item. We don't know what it's going to be until we get the bank statement, right? And the banks are kind of cool because, you know, they don't always charge that necessarily on the same day. So you could actually have a bank statement that has no service charges, or you could have a bank statement that has 2 service charges on it. So that always, you know, makes bookkeeping lots of fun too, when you just kind of take it as it comes. So, and this is our bank service charge. And it was for $1.50. Whoops. Okay. So now we have taken our existing general ledger. I'm going to mark my little to-do icons here. So if we look at our bank statement, we have dealt with every single item that's on our bank statement, right? We look at the balance in our bank statement. We look at the updated balance we have for our GL. So obviously we're missing something. We go back to the GL and look, oh, okay, we're missing, we do not have an X beside this. We have not dealt with this item yet. This is an outstanding check. So on my reconciliation, I have to list my outstanding check, number 2, okay? And I'm going to add that back to my total so that I can see if I reconcile to my bank statement. So now my GL total here is the same as my bank statement here. Whoops. Okay, so I have now reconciled my bank. I need to make entries in my general ledger for these amounts because I don't have them included here. My outstanding check I have to account for in order to reconcile my GL to my bank statement. This will stay as part of my reconciliation until this check clears the bank, okay? And that will take, well, we don't always know, right? Like I said, people don't deposit their checks right away. So you don't always know when that check is going to clear. After 6 months, technically a check will become stale dated. However, in our new electronic age, that does not mean that someone won't still deposit it. A lot of deposits are now either you take a picture of your check and they're electronically deposited, or they're deposited through the ATM. They don't check the dates on those anymore. So if someone has a check that's, I've seen them 2 years old, and the bank has still allowed them to be deposited. If you'll notice on your bank statement, there is a comment on your bank statement that says you need to report any discrepancies within 30 days. So that is another reason that you need to reconcile your bank on a monthly basis within that 30 days. So if there is an questionable item on your statement, you need to bring it to the bank's attention right away. So if that check, let's say you wrote a check 2 years ago and somebody said they lost it, and so you replaced it with another check that they cashed 2 years ago, and then today they just found the check that they thought they lost, then you need to tell the bank, no, that one is 2 years old, it's stale dated, and it needs to be returned because we replaced that check, right? Also, checks that have stop payments on them will occasionally clear your bank. And occasionally a transaction will get posted to the wrong account. So those are all reasons that you should reconcile your bank within that 30-day window, so you have recourse to get those incorrect transactions corrected. Okay.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I never would have thought of that, of something that's clearing that's like, a year old, or somebody stumbles upon a check and going, ah.
That's right. And with the photo, the new photo, when you can take a picture of your check and send it in, I have had multiple instances where people have taken a picture of their check on multiple occasions, the same check, and redeposited it.
Oh.
And there's no, apparently, whether there's a glitch in the system or what happens, but the system cannot go, wait a minute, this check has already been deposited. So you need to watch for that as well, because if you write a check to someone and they take a picture of it to deposit it, most of these were payroll checks. They can be double deposited. So you need to keep a watch on that too, to make sure that you don't pay twice for something that you've sent a check out for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
I've had people have deposits into their account. $40,000 deposit got put into the wrong account.
Oh no. I guess really it's technology which glitches, and human error happens.
This was back when it was mostly through the tellers.
Right.
The electronic portion, if you're doing it yourself, you don't have access to somebody else's account. So the chances, I'm not saying it will never happen, but the chances of it happening are drastically less than another person who has access to all those accounts. When you're typing, all it takes is a slip of one finger to have a wrong account, right? And that's where the money goes. So if you're missing a deposit, so again, when you're reconciling your bank and you know, let's say we couldn't find that $15,400. Okay, it's in our GL. We go looking and we pull out the deposit slip that says, yeah, the teller stamped it. Then you're within your 30 days. You take that to the bank and say, please correct this. I have a stamped deposit slip for this amount of money that I personally deposited. So can you please put that back into my account? Because it's not showing up. So it's either way, right? Whether the transactions are withdrawals or deposits, you just want to make sure that they're correct.
And it's 30 days from the date on the statement, I assume?
Yes, 30 days from the date on the statement. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ellen. This is
You're
great.
welcome.
This is really great. You always have such great tips.
Fun parts of bookkeeping, hey?
Yeah.
Hey, the good thing about bank statements though is that that's the end of the month. So it's like, whoa, okay, I have finished my month now. I reconciled my banks.
Perfect.
That's always a good feeling.
It's a nice little checkbox, right?
That's right. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I am going to stop the recording now to allow for Q&A discussion with those attending the live session. For those watching the recording, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.